Are you a wheelchair racer and struggling to stay in your lane? Let me help you with that. Hello there, my name is Raymond Jones and I'm a coach with Wheels of Fire Wheelchair Racing. In this video, we're going to talk about steering and maneuvering a racing wheelchair. Now, in general, if you don't know about how to steer and maneuver a racing wheelchair, we suggest that you check out our video on that called How Do You Steer That Thing? In this video, we're going to get into the specifics of how to use the compensator or track steering. The track steering or compensator can be one of the most frustrating pieces of equipment for a wheelchair racer to learn in the beginning. But if you know how to use it, you should be able to strike one side on the straight to go straight and one side on the curve and track inside of your lane on the curve. What we hope to do is to give you a method that takes some of the frustration out, removes some of the mystery, and gives you a way to turn the compensator into your friend that helps you get down the track as fast as possible. We want to teach you a method called 2 questions and a rabbit. Power tip number 1. Mark the straight side of the track steering with a contrasting color tape. Just tear off a little piece and wrap it around the track steering bar so that you can identify the straight side quickly. Are you setting the straight side or are you setting the curve side? Straight side, curve side, straight side, curve side.
Straight side, curve side.
When you strike the compensator on the straight side, it pushes the pin up against the metal stop plate on the chair. This pulls the spring rod so that the fork is pulled this way and the wheel is brought, if set properly, to the straight position. When you strike the curve side of the compensator, it pushes the screw up against the stop plate. This action pushes the spring rod, which then pushes the fork, and if the curve side is set properly, the wheel tilts to the degree of curve that you need for the curve of the track. Power tip number 2. If you're setting the straight side of the compensator, only turn the straight side pin. If you're setting the curve side pin, only touch the curve side. The curve side pin affects the curve side, and the straight side pin affects the straight side. The side that you're setting is the only pin that you need to touch. The second question to ask is, do I need to go more to the left? We put the center tube of the racing chair right on the line so that you can see easily which way it's fading. Question 1 was, are we setting the straight side or the curve side? Well, in this case, the straight side. Now we get moving. Watch the front wheel. Which way is the chair fading? Well, given the way that it's fading, do I need to go more to the left? Let's watch it roll again. We're rolling along. Is the chair fading in such a way that we need to go more to the left to fix the problem? In this case, the answer is yes. We have the chair set back up on the line again, and we're asking the question, are we setting the straight side or the curve side? The straight side. Now, we get the chair rolling, and as we get rolling along, we ask the question, which way is the chair fading? Is it fading in such a way that we need to go more to the left? In this case, no. All you're asking is, do I need to go more to the left? What I want you to do now is to hold both of your wheelchair racing gloves out in front of you so that the 2 thumbs are pointed at each other. Now think of these 2 hands like they're 2 rabbits. Here's the trick to remember. The question before was, do we need to go more to the left? If you need to go more to the left, you hop the rabbit away from you. Now remember, the rabbits hop over the hills. They're not moles, they don't dig, they hop over the hills. When you hop the rabbit away from you, look which way your thumb is rotating. So if I'm doing the straight side, you see that thumb turn as I hop the rabbit away from me? You want to hop the rabbit away from you if you need to go more to the left, Hop the rabbit towards you if you do not need to go more to the left. Same thing on the curve side. Hop the rabbit away from you if you need to go more to the left. Hop the rabbit toward you if you do not need to go more to the left. Whichever way your thumb rotates, that's the way you turn the pin. All right, so we have our athlete here on the track, and she has the center body tube of her racing wheelchair and the front wheel right on the line. Just keep in mind, you can do this whenever you're learning on your own or there's lots of space around you. You just don't want to be doing this at like a track meet or in a practice because it'd be really easy to run into someone. So using the center line helps you to see if you're fading to the left or to the right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to ask the questions and then hop the rabbit. So first question is, are we setting the straight side or are we setting the curve side? We're setting the straight side because we're on the straightaway of the track. What do? First thing you do is hit the compensator on the straight side to make sure that the compensator pin is all the way against the center plate. Then you get moving and see which way is the wheel fading. Well, it's fading off. So, do we need to go more to the left? The answer to the question is yes. So, move the compensator over a little bit to give yourself, release that tension. Now you're hopping the rabbit away from you. Do you need to go more to the left? Yes. So you hop the rabbit away. Remember, rabbits hop over the hills. They're not moles, they don't go under the hills. They hop over the hills, so you hop over the top. Watch your thumb. Your thumb indicates which way you turn the pin. Once you have it turned a few times and you think you're close, line the chair back up to the center line. Notice she went ahead and tapped the compensator to put it back over up against the plate on the center body of the chair. And you push again and test. Okay. So what you may or may not be able to tell because of the fisheye lens that's on our camera, you may be able to tell that this is the curve of the track. So now we have the center body set up on the line. We're asking the question, are we setting the straight side or the curve side? We're setting the curve side. So you hit your compensator so that the curve side is all the way against that pin and you start pushing. Well, which way are you fading? Well, do I need to go more to the left? I do not. So I want to hop that rabbit back toward me. So release the tension on the compensator, turn the pin the same direction that your thumb was rotating, then hit that compensator to hold it up against the plate, realign the chair, and test again. Remember, those questions are, am I setting the straight side or the curve side? I'm setting the curve side. Now, do I need to go more to the left? The answer is yes, so I hop the rabbit away from me. Now, if it's not going too far, you don't have to hop that rabbit too much. Line it back up to the center line again. Hit that compensator so that the screw is completely against the plate and test it again. Now, when you're just starting out, on the line helps you to see if you're fading or not. And you're going at a pretty slow pace. Ultimately, you need to really be running at race pace. So you're going to need to be going faster. As you get better at this, you want to be pushing at race pace when you're going into and coming out of the curve so that you know whether or not your adjustments are going to work when you're at top speed. Power tip number 3. When you're setting the track steering adjustments on a racing wheelchair, you want to set the straight side first. There's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, the straight side is just easier. It's much easier to tell if you're getting that straight side dialed in correctly because it's straight. The second reason is If you don't have the straight side set correctly, you're going to enter the curve at a wrong angle, which makes it more difficult to set the curve. So, set the straight side first. Now let's talk about timing. Timing of when to strike the compensator for entering or exiting the curve is just a skill you're going to have to practice. Now there are a couple of tips that you need to keep in mind. First of all, just because you make one pass on one curve doesn't mean that the pin is set wrong for the curve side. You may have to do a few laps. Secondly, before you touch that pin, check your timing. If, for example, you strike the compensator too late, it might be that the arc for your curve is set correctly, it's just that because you struck it late, the arc is pushing you into the outside lanes. Before you turn the pin, check your timing. Here's another tip on that. What you can do for practice is place either a cone or a water bottle or some object on the side of the track at the place where you're going to be entering a curve, and then use that as a place marker. Consistently try to strike the curve side on the compensator at that place marker, and then move the place marker around and see if either later or earlier striking the compensator makes you more consistent. Once you have the consistency, then you can dial in that compensator pin setting on the curve side so that you can track within your lane all the way around the curve of the track. When you're setting a racing wheelchair compensator, you're going to have to make little changes for the track. For example, if you're in lane 2 in one race, and then turn around and get a lane 7 assignment for the next one, you're going to have to adjust that curve side because the degree of curve is different between lanes 2 and lane 7, for example. In addition, there are going to be little changes between tracks, so you're going to have to learn how to set the finer points. You might find that all of your efforts to set your compensator's curve correctly just don't seem to be paying off. Well, check out the track. Take a look at this picture. This track was built after the soccer field was built on the inside. In order to get a 400-meter track to fit in the space, they kind of stretched it out sideways. What this creates is little straightaways that are in the curves. No matter how hard you try, you're never going to be able to shoot that arc perfectly because the arc isn't a consistent arc. What do you do when you're in this situation? Well, what you can do is you can set the compensator for the first half of the curve and then adjust by hopping your front wheel for the latter half in order to go on into the straightaway. In this video, we've talked about how to set the compensator or track steering on a racing wheelchair. We gave you 2 questions and a rabbit. Question number 1, am I setting the straight side or the curve side? Question number 2, do I need to go more to the left? If I do need to go more to the left, I hop the rabbit away from me. If I do not need to go more to the left, I hop the rabbit toward me. We've also given you some tips on timing. It's going to take some practice for you to get used to where the timing is for hitting the compensator coming in and out of the curve. I hope that you have found this video informative. If you could, like the video and subscribe to our channel. The more people that we have subscribed to our channel, the higher our numbers climb in YouTube, and we can get more people involved in wheelchair racing. Become part of our team. This is Raymond Jones with Wheels of Fire saying, keep 'em rolling.